Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and today we're going to move some data. Yesterday we spent some time looking at the database. We saw the structure. We started to write some JavaScript code with Node to be able to pull that data out of the database, and we ended up just pulling out a static JSON file, and then we were going to put it into WordPress with the WordPress API. Well, since that time, Harshit, who's frequently in the live chat and also a frequent contributor, Harshit wrote the rest of what we were planning on writing, but he did it a little bit differently. So the way Harshit did it is we can pull data now directly out. So basically we skip the step of exporting it as a JSON file first. So we can pull the data directly out of the database using SQL queries right there in our Node file. We just put the query in as a string. We'll check out the code in a minute. I just wanted to give Harshit his proper thanks for this. So basically it pulls it out as a query, and then it authenticates with WordPress. So you can get data from the WordPress API without logging in, but you can't put data in, right? That makes sense. So we authenticate and add the data into WordPress, and it actually worked. So let me pull this over, this test. So I did a test just with one piece of information. I didn't want to go through all 9,000 plus rows, but here we see this is that test WordPress installation that we made yesterday, and the first piece of data that we had, here's the correct title. Now here's the issue. This is the HTML. Oh goodness, I'm sorry, I didn't change my screen. Alright, now I've changed my screen. So this is the correct title in our WordPress installation. And then this is the HTML, and there's actually I don't even think there's content in here. It's all just, I guess, these tags that are specifying what components are supposed to go in here. So we're gonna have to look through some of these and see, I guess, like where are we supposed to get this content from? Obviously, we don't want to pull this in. So we're going to have to take a closer look at the data now. So I've already started to do that, and that's why I apologize. I started the stream a few minutes late, but I got really into this and just didn't realize how late it was. So let's take a look at some of the data we have. Let me make it bigger so y'all can see. So one thing that I found, and this is what I was doing right before the stream started, is that the content type of 3 corresponds to, I guess, news. Yeah, I think these are all news. The content type for our current system, Extron, I think this would be categorized as news. So we don't, I think if we need news, I guess we'll have to verify. Yeah, all these seem like announcements. Actually, some of these, now that I look at it, potentially wouldn't be news. This might end up being a little bit tougher. It seems as if there's not really separate post types. Okay, these have yeah, because this is still content type 3. I was afraid this would happen. So let me explain a little bit about what was done, and this was before I even started working here. from what I understand, when this was delivered from the company that built it, meaning the Ectron content management system and the website, there were pieces of it that were supposed to work a certain way, and they didn't. So what they ended up doing was using some, let's say, like some content types, some post types, for a lot of different things that they weren't originally meant for, which worked at the time. But the problem that we're going to have to deal with now is that now when we have a content type that maybe this was originally supposed to just be for news or announcements, but now it seems like they've used it also for employees, like this is a faculty member, so potentially this could be a faculty profile. So we need to find some way to figure that out. Where's these folder IDs? 152. Maybe the folder IDs would help us. Alright, let's search for that right now. We're content type 3. Let's search by folder ID. What was that? 152? Is that the one that I found? 152. Alright, where folder ID equals 152. Alright, let's see what we get here. Whoa, why are you making me log in again? Did I get disconnected? Wow, disconnected me pretty quickly. Alright. Yes. This is much better. Okay. So this is better. Let's cut this. Do we need all this? Right, for now, I want to look at all this data. So eventually we'll cut out the columns that we need, but right now I'm looking for identifiers that could help us group these together. Otherwise, somebody's going to have to go through it by hand. So all of these look like they're faculty profiles. So these are all professors, associate professors, so that's good. Probably won't use the teaser because I want the full content, so we don't need that row. But the text, we could figure out. The text might be useful there. So we have that content text. We're not getting anything for the image. Do we have template ID? Yeah, so that's unfortunate because these usually do have images attached. So I mean, that's not. It'd be nice if the images came through as well, but it's not the end of the world. I don't want to double check what the content HTML is here. Let's see what we get. So I know this is probably too small for you all to see. I mean, it's actually really small for me. I gotta get my face really close. If the HTML structure looks good, then that's probably what I'll bring in is this content HTML column. If not, then I'll try to bring in just the text, the plain text, and we can always wrap it in a tag. But this actually looks pretty good. Ooh, and it actually comes with an image tag with the image source in it. So that's nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Great, and these also have some YouTube embeds attached as well, and that's in there. Wonderful. All right, cool. I think we have our first piece of data, right? So You know what? Let me go to live chat. I see a lot of activity in here, and I haven't looked at it yet. So I'm going to go to live chat. Maybe things will change if depending on what's happening in the chat. But basically, my first idea here is let's make a custom post type and try a custom post type called faculty, and we'll try to pull all these in. I mean, we'll cut down on the query here. We'll only pull in what we really need, but we'll try to pull those in, put them in WordPress, and then see what we get. All right, so hey everybody. Everybody's saying hi here at the beginning. Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Brian, who works with me here, is in the live chat, so that's awesome because he actually put in a lot of this content himself or was in charge of directing other people to put the content in, so he knows a lot more about this content, how it's structured. So I'm glad he's able to join. Okay, so Brian says originally what we were looking at, those were events. Looks like some of them were also job postings. He said look, some of those were expired events, which is kind of what I thought because they're referencing things that happened 2 years ago, deadlines for things. Let's see. Yeah, so Harsh is asking about what Ectron is based on. Brian says it's .NET. So I don't know, Harsh, do you remember when we were editing some of those C# templates, a while back? I don't know if you're in those streams or not, but that's what we were working with, Ectron. And the database is SQL Server database. Let's see. Okay, so Harshit was talking about the rows. Yeah, I will get rid of the rows, but I needed them. Well, before the stream started, I needed them because I was trying to find some type of identifier that would give consistent categories, and I think that identifier might be folder ID. I thought it would be content type, but that's not the case. But folder ID might be a better way for us to go. So now that I found that, I can get rid of the rest of the columns that I don't need. And Harshit says remove all of the HTML using a regular expression or something. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We should, well, potentially. Some of them, the HTML is a mess, but other ones like this, the HTML is actually structured fairly well. So I think it might not be a bad idea to just keep it as is, especially for some of these. For instance, for this one, I know the tags are weird, but it makes sense. The name, right, and then we have an image, and then below there's like a body and things. So that's how we would want to organize that anyway. So I probably wouldn't make these tags called name. They'd just be spans or something. But if it'll save us a lot of time, I'm okay with bringing things in like this. We could always change the names of those tags at some point if we really needed to. Okay, so Brian says these are all philosophy faculty profiles. That makes sense now. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's great. That's really great. Okay, so the folder ID not only tells us these are faculty, but that they're faculty all from one department. This is awesome. So what we can do then is we can have our faculty custom post type, but then within that we'll have categories for the different departments. So we can actually input those with the categories for the department, which should save a lot of time of having to go in and have someone do that manually later on. So that's great. We'll just have to figure out which folder IDs correspond to which department, and that then we'll be able to do it. We may even be able to make some sort of a I don't know, an array, maybe some key value pairs that we can just check once we import it, and then depending on what ID we get, it would automatically assign that corresponding category. I'll think about the best way to do that, but this is good news. Okay. Okay, Brian's saying the images also probably won't be very usable because they're very small. Yeah, maybe it might still not be a bad idea to try to at least see what those images are like. I'm thinking, like, if it comes down to it, right, and we need to launch and we don't have that much time, small images are better than no images. We can make the UI in such a way that maybe those small images will look okay, and then after we launch, we could certainly go back in and find higher quality images. But the process of going through and finding good images for every faculty member, that may not be doable in the amount of time that we have. So I agree that those images will probably want to replace them, but let's try to keep them for as long as we can. And I do have access to all these files where these images are, so I could very easily take all of those images, put them into WordPress or wherever we want to host our images, and then just go through and in bulk change all those image source URLs. So that's what I'm thinking we'll end up doing, right? Because obviously we're not going to leave this server up where these images are now. Okay. Harshit asked if SQLize worked efficiently with MS SQL. Yes, it did. It definitely did. I had a little bit of trouble. So the only trouble I had, and so Harshit made a repo with all this, and I forked it. So it's now on the FUS Marcom GitHub organization. So you could check that out. This is the newest repo. I only had to change a few things. So let's get to the code now. I am going to exit out of my config because I don't want everybody to see that. But basically what I had to change is we were defining a port, and in the config it was set as some other port. I just got rid of it because the default port worked. So since the default port worked, that was fine with me, and that port would be... Oh, it's not showing it now. Anyway, so figure, what, may as well save a line if it's going to give us a default that works. We probably can take out db password, db name. Now I don't remember what variable was there. Oh well. Yeah, I don't remember what variable it was in the config. I assume it was just db port. But anyway, we don't need that. So that's pretty much it. That's all I had to change. Now I look through here. There's nothing else. And I didn't really have to remove that line. I could have just manually typed in the port in the config, but like I said, might as well, take a line out if we can. Okay. Rook says, hi everyone, bit late, just got done eating a lot of fries. That sounds good right now, actually. I could go for some fries. Let's see. Okay. Alright, Harshit shared his Visual Studio Code setup. Yeah, so if you notice, I'm using Visual Studio Code. Harshit, for some reason that link's not working for me. I don't understand. Anyway, so I have switched over to Visual Studio Code. I'm going to try to work with this more. I have noticed the speed is better for Visual Studio Code. It is. I know in the past I've been against the integrated terminal, but for at least for the stream, it's very nice to have this right here and not have to switch. So I like it. There's still times when I still have my other terminal windows open on my other screen, and I think I'll continue to use both, but this is nice. It is pretty nice. Let me make this a bit bigger. Goodness. Alright, and I don't need that. There we go. Okay, so just very quickly, I'm going to run through this before we start pulling stuff over. So if maybe you're not that familiar with Node, maybe you wouldn't be able to just read this and know what's going on. We'll go through it. So we are using some packages here, Node Fetch, which we talked about yesterday, Sequelize. So Sequelize is pretty obvious, I think, from the name, right, that it helps Node talk to a SQL database, right? So you can see that this is just connecting to the database, but down here we can actually use the SQL syntax, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm not that familiar with it, but it is pretty cool that you can just send in a SQL query just like you would put it in normally, and then we'll get the data back. Once we get the data back, we loop through it, right? And then so in this four posts of posts, then we can do whatever we want to manipulate that data in here, like we talked about yesterday. And then now this part is building the data that we're going to send to WordPress, and then this is actually sending the data. So we're authenticating and sending. Harshit's also added a counter that'll give us a console log for how many posts have been added. So really nice. And I wonder if we could have, or when I ran this earlier, I'm going to give you an example of, let's see, executing default. I guess I didn't get a count last time. Oh well. Alright, so that's what's going on. Let's try to pull in some data now. So we're going to pull this in as faculty, and we're going to try to give it a category of philosophy. So let's see what we want. Do we need an ID? I don't think we need the ID, the language. We need the title. We need content HTML. Then we need the status. Brian, what's the status mean? We talked about this yesterday, right? A is active. But I thought it was going to be A and I, like active, inactive, but we're getting an O. We don't need this edit history. I don't think I'm going to mess with bringing in date created. It's okay. So the O means it's been submitted and it's waiting for approval. All right, Brian's going to check on that. Yeah, I don't see any, unless you all think of something, I don't really see any reason to keep the created date or the names of the people that put this in. Now keep in mind, we are going to have a copy of all this, so if we really needed to look at this, we could go back through. I think I'm going to export it in basically all three formats that we can export it and save it. And that way we still have access to this data. But just in terms of what we ought to bring into WordPress, I don't think we need any of this. Let's see. We don't need that. We don't need user ID. So we'll need folder ID. Form, private content. We don't need the content teaser. Do we need published? So the published, we just have zeros and ones. Does the 0 mean it's not published yet? Let's scroll over and see. Yeah, you know what? Maybe the 0 means it's not published. So, all right. So if something's not published, I mean, do we want to bring that over? Should it be published at some point, or has it been unpublished, purposely? And let's see the other fields here. Alright, so we don't need any of that. Private. I don't even see anything marked as private anyway. Alright, I'm not going to worry about template ID. We have a ton of them are just null. Okay. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. It's just that was odd. List. Actually, this is odd as well. So these are all the same, but then once we get down here, the titles are odd, and there's no content. Alright, I'm going to scroll over and see if there's any content anywhere. Maybe we can put in a check that says, if there's no content, this is where kind of the teaser field. Thinking maybe we could say if there is no content, we're not going to pull it in either. Put a CV. Maybe are these just references to maybe PDFs? Alright, Brian wants to see that teaser section. Alright, so let's bring that up. If I hover, yeah, it gives basic info: phone number, email address, title. Yeah, but it's only for those last two at the bottom. And I think we have the more data up here. Alright, well, I say for now at least, we'll say if there's nothing here for content HTML, then we don't put it in WordPress. Let's see what Brian's saying. For row 36, it says that's one small chunk of an overall piece of the smart form which creates the faculty page. Okay, so Brian, are you saying that the data that we're getting here is not everything we need on the faculty page then? So I mean, this is showing us, name, image, a little email, link to a CV, a video, and then there's details, so there's some text. So these ones up here seem more like a complete, this is complete, information on. Okay, good. That's everything. All right, then that seems like it's definitely doable. Ideally, Let me think if we could do this differently. I'm not. All right, let me just share with you what I'm thinking, and you all let me know whether or not it's reasonable. So, if I were making these post types from scratch in WordPress, I wouldn't just have the content in, because this will end up going what shows up in that big content editing area for a WordPress post. I wouldn't put all this stuff in there with HTML, right? I would have different fields, custom fields. So there'd be a custom field for name, title, all that stuff. The image wouldn't just be a link to an image. That would be the featured image for that post type. So it'd be a different spot where you put it in. So if possible with the WordPress API, would it be better if we could find a way to separate these out based on the names of the tags where this info is supposed to be, and then add them as these extra fields? The only reason I think would be the best way, but I'm wondering, is that going to make it just too much to transfer all this data over? We'd have to go in. Some of them hopefully will have the same structure, so I'm hoping all faculty have the same structure. So we really only have to build it out once to be able to pull that data out and put it in. I don't know. What do you all think? Well, number one, does it even make sense what I'm saying? Is it clear? Number two, assuming that it's clear what I'm talking about, should we try to do it that way? I'm just worrying about the time here. It's already December. So really, there's only like 2 weeks that I'm going to be working on this in December. And then we'll have the whole month of January. And then at that point, so we're really talking like 6 more weeks of working on this before we need to have something that's reasonably finished so that people can test. 6 weeks. You know what? I think I've talked myself into the answer here. Okay. Sorry if this is hard to follow. I'm thinking out loud so that y'all can understand what's going through my head here. Okay, here's the plan. We're going to just pull the data in as these big chunks, keep the HTML there. We'll get all the data pulled in. We can always go in after the fact and change it, right? So let's say we pulled all the faculty in. It wouldn't be ideal, but we'd have all the data in there. And then we can just go in with some CSS later on, grab these tags as is, and then we can style it however we want, right? At that point, we'd have something that would look good and it would work to launch. After that, we could have, let's say, some student workers go in and we would make the real custom post type with the fields necessary, or better yet, we could just add the fields in to the custom post type that already has all the data, have student workers go in, separate out that data, and then once we have that all separated out, we can just go in chunks and go back and change our we could change our components, our React components, to pick out that data separately. Would that make sense? So essentially, we're doing a good enough solution for launch since it's so quick, but we're still leaving it open so that it's entirely possible, albeit somewhat time consuming, to go out and separate it by hand, or even, we wouldn't have to separate by hand, or even try to build out a somewhat automated way of pulling that data in. and then we can give it the attention it deserves in small chunks as the year goes on. Let me look back at the live chat, see what you all think about it. Okay, my Uncle Pat says, separating out the different data fields is better long-term answer. From an architecture standpoint, it may not be the quickest solution for your timeline. That is also right in line with agile iterations. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, I think that's a good plan for now. If we run into issues and the HTML that we're bringing in is just too crazy to work with, we can always, switch that up. That's not, that's something that will be easily changeable as we're pulling that data in. And we'll try to pull the data in per category, so we'll make it smaller chunks. That way we don't end up pulling in, 9,000 rows of data and then realizing after that, oh, we messed it up, right? We'll do it in small chunks, check it out, make sure it works all right, and then we'll move on. It'll be a little bit slower than just bringing it all in at once, but it could prevent big mistakes. Okay, so let's bring that in now. So what we want to grab is select, how did that go? I'm going to have to keep checking my syntax here because I'm not, okay, I'm not great with SQL. So we want, I'm going to bring in content ID. That way, if we ever need to go back and reference the original content, it'll be really easy for us to do that with the ID. So we don't really need that in WordPress, but it could be helpful. Content ID. There we go. Are we separating by commas? Yeah. Okay, so content ID, and we need content title, content HTML. Whoops, was that it? It should be COTNT. I thought I misspelled it since I wasn't getting the autocomplete, but it looks all right now. So content HTML, and I think there was only one other thing. Did we want to bring this in? Or I'm sorry, the folder ID. I don't think we need to bring the folder ID in. Right? If we're going to pull these in small chunks, then that shouldn't be an issue. So this is all that we'll need to bring in. And then we're going to pull it in by folder ID, so we'll only get these. Is there a way, put a tick between the column names on select, it looks a lot cleaner. Okay, Harsh is saying use limit keyword. Okay, limit 500. Okay, I shouldn't need to use it for this one because there's definitely not, we have 36 rows that match this, but we probably should use it for some of our bigger chunks. Trying to catch up here on the live chat. Names between select, content. Okay, so Gromlum is saying put backticks between these. Is that how we did it? I'm going to leave it right that for now, like it is for now. You're right, it would look cleaner, but just for time purposes, I'm going to leave it like this. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Is there a way that I could put, let's say, a keyword like not, and it would be HTML content and then like blank? Would that work? I may as well try it. Oops, content HTML equals nothing. Let's try it. Nah, syntax error. Your keyword not. Alright, so I guess I don't know how to use not. If exists. Alright, great. Thank you, Harshit. So if exists. Do I need to. It's not showing up. Or and. Okay, I could use and. And can I use content HTML? Can I do is not equal to? Is that a thing in SQL? I'll try it. Nope. Incompatible. In the not equal to operator. Where column name is not null. Okay. Thank you, Erland. I appreciate that. Is not null. Or just not null? Is that how it is? Incorrect syntax. Can I just put is null? Oh, I need to remove the. Sorry. Content HTML. If not, select. Continue show. Is oops. Alright, well, I got rid of the red line, so this is promising. Awesome. Thank you. Who's that? Erland. Well, several of you were trying to tell me what to do here. Erland ended up having the syntax that I ended up using. Alright, so let's double check. And that did not work. What did I mess up? So we still got these. We can always just pull this in, and I mean, I know how to check for this in JavaScript, but I think it would be better to not pull them in at all if we know for sure we're not going to need them. Let's see. It is not null. Alright, let me see. Harshit, what was the last thing that you're trying to say there? It is not null with she's trying to say the syntax is supposed to be just not null, or are you saying the syntax is not supposed to be null? I'm not sure. I could try it like this, so. Nope. Okay. Alright, so. Not content. Alright. Try this. Alright, let's do. time is it? Oh, well, I've been going for quite a long time, and I haven't stopped. I noticed there were some questions. I haven't stopped to answer any questions. Let me take just a 5-minute break here and answer some questions, because normally I don't go this long without answering anything. So let me answer some questions here while it looks like Harsh is trying to find the correct syntax for me. I know I saw a question. Okay, so Arpesh says, how do you motivate yourself to code daily? I failed every day. I don't know why. Help me. Okay, Arpesh, hopefully you're still there, because you did ask that a few minutes ago. So, I mean, my motivation to code, well, number one is I get paid to code, and if I didn't come in and code, I wouldn't have a job. So that's a great motivation. When I was, let's say, freelance, right, the motivation still somewhat had to do with money, but to be honest with you, I enjoy coding. So I enjoy building stuff, and I enjoy getting better. So I'd say it's a combination, and leave aside the whole I have to make money to pay bills and take care of my family, which, I mean, that's a significant motivator. But leaving that aside, I would say it's a mixture of competitiveness, wanting to be better at what I do, personal pride in that, and trying to do good things, and just fun, and enjoyment. So there's sometimes when I have fun coding, so I want to code because I like building things. And there's sometimes when I force myself to code or to learn something new and try it out because I want to be good. So I'd say that's, those are the motivating factors for me. Now, on like a really short-term scale, you could help yourself, to get motivated. There have been times when, I always break up my work with Pomodoro sessions. I think that helps with motivations because you have all these really small chunks that don't seem intimidating, and then when you finish one, it feels like a victory. Even if it was something small, you can actually move it, to a different column. In my case, I usually use a Trello board. But I've done it before where, I'll have, let's say, like a piece of candy or a chocolate bar or something, sitting on my desk. And I'll say, okay, if I get through this Pomodoro session or if I get through this task, then I'm going to eat that candy bar, right? It's kind of silly, but if you need a little bit of motivation, there it is. Or I'll say, after I finish this task, then I'm going to go, I don't know, then I'll eat lunch or then I'll do something. That can be just like a short-term motivator just to get you through, something really tough. So that would kind of be my advice. If you have a really hard time getting yourself motivated, you could look into some other things like, are you getting enough exercise? Are you eating right? Did you get enough sleep? If you're doing all those things and it's still there, you might want to think about talking to your doctor, seeing do you have any health issues. There's all kind of stuff that could cause that. Maybe some mild depression, thyroid problems. I mean, there's so many things. But first, I'd try to get yourself motivated with some of the things I mentioned first. And then, try with exercise and diet. I'm not a doctor at all, so, don't take my advice as if I was. But just for me, that also seems to help. So hopefully some of that was at least useful to you or someone else. And then ultimately, if you try everything and you're still not motivated to code, maybe coding is not your thing. Maybe you should try to find something that does excite you to work. Or maybe just a different area of coding. There's so many different things you could go into, in the area of like coding, programming, engineering. Just maybe try out some new things till you find something that you really do get excited about. One more question here in our last minute of our break, and then we'll go back and get this data transferred over. Omar says, hey Jesse, I've been following you for a while. I've noticed that you work on several types of projects, front-end, back-end, mobile. I was wondering, what is your role in this company? My official title is front-end developer, but realistically, I'm like the project manager as well for all these projects. So my I have full freedom to use whatever tools that I need, whatever technologies that I think is best, as long as the projects get done. So if I meet the project requirements on time, no one worries about what I'm using. Also, I mean, cost is, if I came in and said I want to use this certain type of technology, it's going to cost us $100,000, then they'd care. But I usually use open source, that doesn't cost anything. So now, I mean, if you are using open source a lot and relying on it, you should really consider giving back. And certainly, I'm open to that. Assuming that my code is up to quality to be able to be merged, then I'll definitely do that. But even if I can't do that, I for sure at least try to give credit to those technologies that I use, posting about it on Twitter, featuring it, talking about it on the stream. So I don't want to give people the impression that open source means free with no responsibility, right? If we want those open source products to keep going and getting better, we ought to contribute something, donate, financially or with your time and your abilities. So anyway, so my role is a little bit more than my title, would have you believe. But basically, I do whatever needs done to get the project done. If that means working with databases, that's it. If I need to set up servers, if I need to do DevOps stuff, back-end stuff, I do that. But at least usually what I do is front-end. It would be considered front-end. Although lately I've been into all different kinds of things. So that's a good question, though. All right, so let's go back. I guess I'll set the Pomodoro clock. I haven't really been using it yet to stream, but it'll be a reminder, I guess. So let me check the live chat, see what we have in terms of syntax to try to get this where we want. Okay. So content from content. Okay, so we just need oops. We're not content HTML. Okay, let's run it. Whoops. Oh, I think I figured that. Is it not gonna work? Do I need and? Oops. Alright, is that exactly? No, I think that's not gonna work. Okay. Alright, now I'm getting a lot in the chat here. Okay, so from where not content. Join them, parentheses, and before not. It's two single quotes. Okay. In parentheses around the criteria. Oops. All right, parentheses. Michael's saying parentheses around the criteria. All right, Michael, where am I going to put these parentheses? I mean, I'm sorry, but treat me like I'm someone who knows nothing about SQL queries, because that's not really that far from the truth. Okay, so in the where, let's see, put parentheses around that. Okay. And then put this here. So Michael's saying, think of your where as an if statement in JavaScript with multiple criteria. How do you keep them together? Okay. All right. That makes so much sense. What about, what's going on over here? Why am I getting a line? Okay. No. Alright. Alright, it's not working. What am I doing here? And not. Okay, use. Alright, Harsh is saying use double quotes. And. Mike says, what is the data type of the ID column? The folder ID? Probably, I don't know, maybe it's not a string. It worked before. Let me just remove this quickly to check. So, oops, I didn't put it in. To be honest, I don't know what the data type is or how to find that out. I mean, it obviously looks like it's a number, but there's not quotes around anything. So, you know, I know this is a string. So I'm not sure, but it is working like this. Okay, news are saying does not matter what data type it is. Okay. Well, let's pop this back in, and let's, I don't know, keep working with it. Content HTML. Yeah, it's not. I'm still getting red stuff. Invalid column name. Content. Text. Okay. Begin up. No. No. And it's not null. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's try. Oh, okay. says there may be, Erland says there may be some space in there which is detected as content. So let's try, Harshit has another idea. Remove not before content HTML. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, this is still detecting something in here. Alright, use length, content HTML equals. Alright, let's try this. So this is from Harshit. He's saying we could do not, so we're going to do len for length equals 0. Let's try this. Nope. What I got? Data types invalid. Let's make sure I got that right. And content HTML. Alright, let's see. Rook's asking if spaces increase length. I don't know. It's length. Nah. Alright. Is greater than 1. Alright, let's see. I'm getting some more stuff here. Alright, nothing. Okay, so we have something else here. Alright, let's try this. And I'm going to paste this in because it was a lot. Okay, so now we're saying I obviously got some weird character in there. Alright, so coalesce, character length, content, HTML. Alright, let's see what this does. No, character length is not recognized, built-in function name. Alright, let me check that I didn't miss anything. I think I've tried everything that's been suggested so far. Let me know if I haven't. Alright, let's see. Length, content ID as length to your select. Add length content ID? Okay. Alright, select content ID, length, content ID as length. We'll add another column to your query. Okay, let's see. So that's not going to work for now. So that's okay. All right, let me read what else is in here now. Links, select content, links. Okay. Javier says, try this content HTML less than symbol, greater than symbol. Type the actual symbols without spaces. I think that's the way you say not equal for strings. We can't type those symbols in chat. Interesting. Alright, let me try. I'm going to try. Harshit put some in. I can just copy and paste. So I'll try that first because obviously it's easy. The copy and paste. Oops. Nope. It's not. Alright, so and Vincent saying and content HTML is not null. I think we did that one already. Yeah, we tried that. So Vincent, we tried that one already, and for some reason, it's not recognizing those as not null. All right, Michael, I get the length column ID thing, which it did. It worked, but why do we want the length of the column ID? Wouldn't it be better to get the length of the content HTML? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right, actually, this will be useful just to see what this returns. Oh, what? Invalid argument for one of length function. Yeah, this is not working. Maybe because it's a string and the content ID was an integer. Yeah, it's an integer. This text, okay. Michael, you keep typing in length, but it won't let me. It won't let me use length. It keeps saying use len. All right, let me go back up. Content HTML. All right, let me think about this. This will create a new column called. Man, I wish I had my interns. There's a possibility I might get 3 interns, and 2 of the 3 are supposed to be good with databases, and they probably would remember a lot of this syntax. All right, let's. How about, I don't worry about this now. All right, wait, the whip and post and content show less than equal than. All right, we'll try one more. And CML less than, what is it? Less than equal than? Less than equal to? Is that what? Do you mean less than greater than? Okay, I think our problem is that we can't use this kind of stuff on that data type. So we need to use things that work on, it's calling it an end text, which I'm assuming is the SQL equivalent of string. Alright, let's see if you try. Alright, so Umberto has pasted something in there. So let's try that. Whoa. Alright. Alright, what is wrong with this? It's not working. Alright, I'm not sure what's wrong with that, Umberto, but I mean it's giving me an error. Alright, let's try this. Data length. Alright. Vincent is saying since it's text, we have to use data length. So let's try that. Data length is greater than 0. Okay, we didn't get an error, but we also didn't have anything returned. Let's see. Alright, so Harshit has put in a Stack Overflow link. Let's check that out. Alright, I guess we could try this. Oh, shoot. Sorry, everybody. I've messed up my my sign. I didn't see you all typing that either because I was looking at that Stack Overflow. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. Excellent. Who was that? Vincent? Vincent. All right. Great job. That did it. Thank you very much. Let's import this data. All right. Yeah, let's bring that in. Actually, let's just bring this in. All right. So for this, here we go. And content, title, status publish. I wonder if we could give it an ID. Let's try it out. Oops. Post. I still have the API docs up here. I guess I could see. Post. I don't want to get post. I want to post. Update. Post. I guess I can't set the ID. Date, status, password, title, content, All right, we'll leave it off. Should we leave it off for now? Yeah, I'm not really seeing. Category. Let's just try to pull this in and see how that works, especially with a category. So let's add a category in right now. We want it to be faculty. Yeah. Okay. We'll save that and let's run it. Nope. Migrate.js. Yeah, Harshit was just asking, how will you insert folder ID in WordPress? Yeah, Harshit does not like SQL Server. Yeah, I'm not using it by choice. This is just what we have the data on right now. So the last time I ran this, it didn't actually give me any indication that this worked. So let's just check out what we have here in our posts. See if we got it. Should we refresh? Okay. Still nothing. Alright, so that didn't work. That's interesting. So we haven't gotten an error, but I'm not seeing the data. Oops. Alright, so let's see. Nothing. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Go back. No. You know what? I wonder if. Watch this. I think probably what I need is the slug for this, and not. Maybe it wasn't adding it because there wasn't that category. So I'm going to save this and try it again. Nope, that wasn't it. Harsh is saying console log the data. Okay, let's do that. Alright, let's go to our saying change the log frequency. Okay. Yeah, let's just take this out then. And just console log. Okay, it's saying that it's inserted. But we're seeing it is not inserted. Let's see, what did we add up here? Let's take this out. Oh, you know what? It wasn't that. It was because I tried to add this ID in, and you can't add an ID, and I forgot to take it out. So remember, we checked the docs, realized I couldn't add the ID, and then never did anything about it. So that's most likely why. Let's try it now. There we go. That's why. Interesting. The category thing did not work though. So we had category faculty. Let me check the docs and see. Category. Oh, okay. Because I messed it up. It's supposed to be categories. And it's supposed to be an array. Alright. Oh well. That was kind of a test anyway, so we'll just have to remember that for next time. It's categories and it needs to be an array. I would like to see what the update process is for updating a post. Update a post. Oh, okay. That's not that's not as good here. So when you go to update, you actually have to put in the post ID. I was hoping that you could just do a post request. Nah, yeah, this makes more sense. You gotta have the ID. Alright, good to know. I mean, I wasn't gonna update right now, but it's good to know that if we ever need to, that's how we gotta do it. Okay, so like I said, this is a test, so I don't want to leave these in posts, but I did want to see, okay, can we add multiple things, and will it come in, and let's check. Alright, cool, we have this in here. It looks weird now, but we can check the HTML, and it looks a little bit nicer now when it actually is pulled in HTML. That's interesting. That's really interesting. It did not pull in all the tags, or maybe WordPress stripped a lot of them out. So if you remember, what we should have, oops, is something more like this. Alright, let's test this with WordPress for a second. it strips them automatically. I don't know if you saw it because it was really small, but I tried to put a non-standard HTML tag in here, and it stripped it out. I'm really glad we tested this. So I'm going to have to look up how to turn that functionality off for our editor, at least for when we're pulling stuff in. That might not be a bad idea to turn it off later on, to keep people from putting invalid HTML in here. But for now, I'd rather keep that structure. Okay. Alright, so we got a lot done today. I'm pretty amazed that in 2 days we pretty much figured out how we're going to do this migration. Haven't done it, but haven't migrated everything, but we've tested it enough that we know it's going to work. Still have a few things to work out, like getting it to keep the tags that we send it. But other than that, not bad. It's definitely a successful stream today. So let me check the live chat quickly to see if there are any questions that I missed. I think I was able to catch everything as we were going along. And then I think we'll wrap things up. Let's see. Okay, Harsh is saying let's change the tags using regular expression. Yeah, we could do that. I'm worried that, would it be too much? So Harsh is saying like try to replace the content with replace name with div. Well, that's good, but I wouldn't want to replace it with div. It would have to be like div and then class name. Right? Because I want to be able to still grab those. So would it be worth it knowing that we would have to go through and figure out, for the faculty it's fine because they're all going to be pretty standard, I hope. But then for each different post type, we'll have to figure out what we want to change the stuff to. Maybe it would be easier just to figure out how to turn off. All right, well, I'm going to try to figure out how to make WordPress accept the tags that we send it. If that's not possible, or if it's really hard to do, then we'll try to just change the tags. Because the tags, at the very least, it makes it obvious what the thing is. So I don't dislike those tags, and as far as I know, HTML5 it's totally valid to make tags like that. So it's not a way that we usually do things, and that we've been doing in these streams, but it's definitely okay. All right, yeah. So we'll do that then. I'll do a little bit of research and. Actually, I won't be streaming tomorrow. So tomorrow is a feast day, Catholic holy day of obligation. So I'm off tomorrow since I work at Catholic University. So I will see you all on Monday, and I'll try to work on figuring out what's going on with WordPress, and we may or may not do more streams on the transferring this data because we've pretty much figured out how it's going to work. It'll probably be just somewhat time consuming, so I'll work on it, or I'll find someone else to work on it. Yeah. All right. So anyway, to anybody who's Catholic, have a happy feast of the Immaculate Conception tomorrow. It's cool if you don't have to work. That's awesome. If you do have to work, That's kind of usual. Nobody really gets off for that. But make it to Mass if you can. And I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping. It's really obvious that I needed the help, and I very much appreciate it. So have a great weekend, since I won't see y'all tomorrow, and I'll be back on Monday.